Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, we've got Peerless Double Oaked on the channel. I was a big fan of the regular Peerless. To me, I get a lot of chocolate out of that thing. This right here, I got it home, man. Cracked it a little bit. Just wanted to get it down to the shoulder and see what it does, so let's get it.
Bottom drop, bottom drop, bottom drop.
Funny thing is, I had always wanted one of these bottles. I've got two bottles on the table that are both double oak. One is a favorite of mine, one is not so much a favorite of mine. You guys know how I feel about this Elijah Craig Toasted. To me, it is just, it's not worth the price that they put on it, and to me, it is nothing special. It does absolutely nothing for me. However, the Sagamore Double Oak, on the other hand, that thing is phenomenal. That thing is phenomenal. But when Peerless came out with their double oak, I wanted a bottle. I knew they were kind of expensive, and I didn't see them a lot in my area. It wasn't until I saw, I think it's Bourbon Night. They did a review where they came to DC, and I think they went to Jack Rose's, and they said that Jack Rose, and showed it on camera that Jack Rose had some, and I think they were selling their own pick. But anyway, Dave Vogelsang, shout out to you, Dave, sent me a sample, and I was going to put it up against the 13th Colony Double Oak because I knew I had a bead on a sample of 13th Colony Double Oak. But it took so long to get the sample that I actually forgot about the Peerless Double Oak sample that I had. It wasn't until I found out from Brad, and shout out to Brad, that Brad knew where I could get a bottle. So yes, I paid a little more than retail. You guys know I normally try to stay around that $30 mark. However, after having that sample, because Brad said, look, he said, open that sample. If you like that sample, I got you. So I cracked that sample open, and I was like, wow, this is really, really good. So I was happy to get my own bottle finally. I've got to give it up to Peerless though, man. They have one of the prettiest bottles in the game, and heaviest bottles too. And I think the reason why these bottles are so expensive is because of how much glass they use. I mean, these things are heavy and huge. It rivals Frey Ranch. Frey Ranch has a huge topper and all of the glass at the bottom. And but I will say, price-wise, this thing is it's a little expensive. I don't normally like to go that high. It retails for, I think, around $130. I paid a little over retail. I paid a little over retail. I went up to my limit. You know, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know my limit is 30 over retail. So just do the math. Anyway, all this is just the normal Peerless Double Oak. They take it and dump it into a brand new charred barrel. A new charred oak barrel. That's all they do. And look at this thing. I mean, it is super dark. That's like dark chocolate almost. I'm gonna try to zoom in so you guys can see that. But that's coffee. Like that is coffee. That is super dark. Let's get into the nose, man. A chocolate on the nose. I said I get chocolate on Peerless anyway on the palate, but on the nose, this thing is coming off like a dark chocolate. I'm getting a ton of oak though. I would have to say a little bit of a concentrated citrus note too. Leaning more towards that concentrated lemon lime. And a little bit of apples. I'm getting a little bit of apples in this thing. Now it comes in at 109.5 proof, so it's not super proofy. Let's go into the palate and see what we get. You do get a lot of heat. You get a lot of ethanol in the nose. That apple transfers over to the palate, but it's something else. You almost get like there's a zing on the mid palate, almost like a ginger snap cookie. That chocolate transfers over, that apple transfers over. There is almost, I almost want to say like that. You know how you bite into a pineapple and sometimes it has that sting? It's almost that feeling, but it almost has like a little bit of pineapple / apple in there as well. That fruit note is really heavy. It's got a long finish. I mean, I am still tasting char. It's turning into a leather now, which I'm surprised about. I thought it was going to be more char and just like stay char, but it's char and leather now. Let's go back into the nose one more time. I am not picking up that chocolate as much as I first did. There's a sweet, I say this a lot, but there's a sweet vanilla cream. The apple is still there. I'm not picking up as much of that citrus note as I picked up in the beginning. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's got a sweet smell on the nose too. Let's go back into the palate. Chocolate, drying oak. I'm not picking up those fruits as much as I was, that pineapple and apple. That chocolate is really like a cocoa powder now. It's cocoa powder and char. This is almost to the point where it is like it's drying in the mouth. It's almost to the point where it is over oaked, but I kind of like it. Like I like it. It's sweet. It's got a lot of oak in it. It's got a lot of char on it, but it's got like, it's like dark chocolate, like that super dark cocoa powder. Let's get into the breakdown. So I chased this thing. Shout out to Bourbon Hunter. Got my Bourbon Hunter Glen. I did chase this thing a little bit. I didn't chase it because of the price. I didn't chase it and not having it as much as I've chased some other things, or as hard as I chased some other things. Like I said, after seeing It's Bourbon Nights video, I almost went to DC to Jack Rose to see if they still had it. But as a YouTuber, we film videos. I've got videos shot from months back. If you ever want to figure out what video's new and old, look at the bottles behind me. Look at the setup of the bottles behind me. Look at where their placement is, and you'll see if it's a new video. I don't just change stuff around. I like to keep things simple. But I've got things that I released months ago. Wow, as I was talking, some of that vanilla note came across the palate. It's got a nice long finish, man. Anyway, let's get back to the breakdown. So is it worth the chase? If you are a big fan of chocolate and oak, then yes. If you're not, if you like more of a fruit-forward bourbon, then this is probably not going to be for you. However, I like it. I do. I like it. I like that chocolate. I like that oak, that char across the back. Like I said, it almost stumbles on the verge of being over oaked. But the sweet leather finish that it has on it, man, that thing is killing me. Is it worth over retail? Well, you guys know I paid over retail. Like I said, I think it goes for about $130, $140, and I paid $160. So, like I said, you got to be a fan of Peerless, and you've got to like something that's really oaky. Who is this for? So coming in at 109 proof, being as oaky as it is, I would have to say this is for an oak lover and like a moderately experienced bourbon drinker. Like I wouldn't give this to a beginner. One, I think those oak notes might turn them off because it just might be a little, sometimes you can pick oak up and it can be bitter. So I wouldn't want to run them away with something that's super bitter, super drying in the mouth. But if you are like an intermediate bourbon drinker, where you don't have a problem with a little bit of proof and a little bit of oak, I think you'll be okay with this. Will it always be on the bar? I like this bottle a lot, man. Honestly, even though it is super oaky, super chocolate, and it's got a long finish, now turning into that like sweet leather, like I said, I like it. If I run low on this bottle, I could see myself buying another Peerless Double Oak. And with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out unless you add it to a drop. Till next time.